right? There's no sitting back, at least as it relates to what I can become, what things I want to accomplish, who I have to overcome in terms of my own self, and what life we live, what kind of experiences we create. Now, is it just, overnight? No, but it's what can I control? The reason why I'm so urgent in my time is because my mom passed away from cancer, like I said earlier, and
Right.
she didn't get a second chance. She was 32 years old, right? And
Right.
so here I was, right around the same age. Here I was saved, no, not so much as scarred, hurt, injured at that time when I was partying, going crazy, driving drunk home. I can't even count. Countless nights, not even as so much pulled over, thrown in the slammer, not a reminder. And, obviously you have a belief in certain things, but I was like, hey man, my life was spared. And now what would I be if I was cheating the time that I was allowed on a second attempt or the third
Yeah.
attempt or whatever number that is? But my mom didn't get it. Right. So now I operate from that place of it's go time. It's fucking go time. Right. There's no sitting back, at least as it relates to what I can become, what things I want to accomplish, who I have to overcome in terms of my own self, and what life we live, what kind of experiences we create. Now, is it just, overnight? No, but it's what can I control? I can control my approach, my energy, my effort, the things that matter like that, so that I don't feel that I am not leaving it and laying it all on the table. Right. So, but yeah, man.
So in that case, and you talk about making that change, once again, 29, sober, doing these things, and you talk about the no regrets and hey, not waiting, but we all get to choose between, discipline and regret. And you're choosing, right, to make a change and be better and grow and push yourself.
Totally.
And you brought up another interesting thing is you talked about, those relationships, putting yourself around people, or the gentleman on the stage, you're talking about the speaking aspect and recently, had read an article talking about Harvard University and a long ongoing study they had done about, and talking about how 95% of success and failures are direct relation to those you spend the most time with. So you surrounding yourself with people that were doing the thing, right, and learning from them and striving to want to replicate that and growing yourself obviously allowed you to succeed. Unlike hanging around all the people that was the bad influence and doing the things and partying. And once again, that took you down that path, right?
I succeeded at getting high, baby.
Yeah. There was success there, but not the kind of success you're experiencing today. Yeah. So definitely different.
The mentorship that I have in my life is unbelievable. I mean, it is the network that I've employed that are playing at a high level is still sometimes a surprise to me, and I pinch myself. And it was hard for me initially to decide that I was going to help with sales because I didn't want to be looked at as a sales guy. I didn't want that to be part of the branding. But then I looked back and I realized that a current mentor / partner is one of the best sales professionals and individuals that has sold tens of millions of dollars worth of his own products on stage, off stage, online.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another mentor, is a dear friend of mine. We're writing a book together right now, who is one of the top B2B sales trainers in the world and has one of the largest channels and followings in sales from original deployment of their brand and so forth. And so then I have working at the company here in Vegas with another very big business influencer that is known as one of the top closers in the world. And it's like, it goes on and on and on. And so here I am, talk about a story, right? Again, being around the right people. So when I go to you and you're trying to figure out why you should hire me, and you're thinking about, well, can Manny help me? And I'm sitting here telling you like, hey man, this is what I've done. Number one, here's where I've been. Number two, and here's who I've been around. Number three.
Right.
right? I mean, if you go back, I mean, I remember, I think distinctly sharing that on one of those original calls that we had with that group, the peer group, which was, like, tell us about yourself. And I'm like, well, I know I can sell. I know I've sold a lot, and I know I've been around the best in the business. So I think I know some stuff, kind of like that version of it. And yeah, you just realize, like, and again, that's that kind of inward battle you're going through, where you're not calculating perspective properly. And I fell victim to that. I don't like to use that word, but the reality is I fell for the illusion. That's the better way to say it. I fell for the illusion of thinking that, and letting my ego drive this idea that, oh, it would lower me, or it was such an inconclusive decision-making process that prevented me from taking faster action on the sales concept, that because I was avoiding it and having such a hard time, I created other stresses in my life for, over a year or 2 years, maybe, versus if I knew this ahead of time, it would have just been decisive and we've been gone way before. But this is the point of always on the grow for me, which is the concept of us always and never ever giving up on figuring out that next version of ourselves, which is constant progress, which means, well, I just had to overcome some of that stuff. That's some of that purging of that identity in there that doesn't support you. And it's not fun. It's hard. In the moment, it's like you want to quit, you want to give up. You think it's time to put in the white flag, but you're like, no, I've committed to something, to figuring this out. And because I committed to that, over time, it started purging itself out. It started sweating itself out, sweating itself. Now, I can't turn you guys away fast enough, man. You guys want to throw me all your money in it.
Well, and you say the essence of life is growth, and you can talk about the continuous growth, always on the grow. Do the best you can. When we talk about always learning, always growing, if you look at a tree, how tall will a tree grow? As tall as it can, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it doesn't stop at my height, and say, okay, I'm done. No, it grows as tall as it can.
People
Now
know how tall you are.
it could have other trees around it that's, that holds it back, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Doesn't get the daylight, doesn't get some of the nourishments, but once again, it goes back to, you take those out of the ground, it's going to continue to want to grow. It's going to grow. It's going to take off.
That's it. And funny enough, we had a tree right here out in front of our yard as of maybe 2 months ago now. That son of a bitch was getting big. I'm like, dang. And it was becoming a nuisance. And I'm like, okay. And so then not long after that, because we have a really amazing property management and association here that takes great care of our neighborhood. It's pristine. And I'm thankful for that standard. But they came in and they started pulling that son of a bitch out of the ground and uprooted it, and it was out. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you were doing that. They don't tell you, by the way, because this is their land. They just do what they want. And so he ain't there no more. So unless you uproot the thing, right, and take it out like that, in that case, he's done, because he ain't got no more roots down there. But if he wasn't, he probably would have grown all over this place.
Yeah.
They just keep going. They don't stop. But
So,
to your point, that's a great point, man.
yeah. So turn things back a little bit. You touched on the 18 months of restaurant ownership, which sounds amazing and fun. It's especially at that age. What was the biggest contributor, do you believe, sort of take out the partying aspect, to the demise of those three businesses?
Sure, that's a great question. I really didn't know what I was doing operationally.
Okay.
I think you can figure that out. I was glorified in the idea of owning the business rather than being the business owner and figuring out how to actually be that person. Obviously, I wasn't that person, right? So there's just no chance. There's no chance. I mean, you even in that case, man, with my identity the way that it was. For example, the night before we opened our milkshake shop for friends and family, I'm talking about the night before, I'm at EDC Las Vegas, the biggest carnival for fucking electronic dance music with the biggest DJs in the world. and I'm fucking high as a kite. And to make matters worse, I remember very distinctly on Sunday morning, or Monday morning, because it goes Friday, Saturday, and it's Sunday. And Sunday it goes until midnight, 5 a.m. 5 a.m. it closes Monday morning. I popped a Molly right around 5 a.m. to finish. And that night we had our friends and family for the opening of the restaurant.
Goodness.
Milkshake shop. So you don't know what you're doing when you're running the business. You're not learning to figure it out. You're just running in circles. I'm running amok out in Las Vegas. I mean, it was a host of different things, right? But again, man, I mean, I forget sometimes, and my wife would even tell me, she's like, because in a newer level of life, I still feel there were some versions of those scars that haunted me in taking steps in this now modern day. And I realized that there was a very big value in a lot of the things that I did, because I did hire people. I had a great team of people that loved coming to work. I had a great energy there. We had people that came in that loved our product. We had a variety of things that were working well, that kind of demonstrated the things that I was good at. And so uniquely, that's not everything you need, because, again, it's just one of those unfortunate situations that business just kicks your ass if you don't know what you're doing. And so, yeah, man, I mean, there's no way to pinpoint it outside of the fact that I was not yet the person that I needed to be in order to run and build and hold on to a successful restaurant. There's no other way to look at it.
Sure.
Right. You can look at the actual disease, or you can go look at the fact that there's a symptom coming out from the disease, and you can try to put the Band-Aid on the symptom, or you can go in and you can, like the tree, take the damn root out. Right. And so for me, the root was just, hey, I wasn't who I needed to be.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. I was just kind of curious, if you're reflecting back at that you pinpointed, and it sounds like there was a few things obviously that influenced that, and and
there's a lot that I forgot.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years, right? So
a couple.
You touched on too. You always had this desire, this entrepreneurship desire, and I think statistically, I don't remember the exact number, but I know that it's a large chunk. This, maybe it's 35, 50% or whatever, that have the kind of intent of desire to be in business or be an entrepreneur. But yet today, standing, I think it's somewhere around 6% that are actually entrepreneurs. So you are obviously part of that minority today. Not only did you have that desires as those that did, but actually you've done it multiple times, right? You continue to say, this is what I want to do. I'm going to be in business. I'm going to control my destiny. And I commend you on that. Obviously you've never given up. You're always trying something different. You touched on currently co-authoring a book. This sounds like it's in process, but you also mentioned in the past about a book as well. So what was this book that you wrote in the past? How long ago was that? And what was it about?
Yeah, that was right when I came out. So, when I started my journey of sobriety, right after that, when I told you I wanted to become the speaker, sort of the gateway, or what I was sold or told, was you got to have a book, right? And it's kind of the door opener. And I bought into it. I'm like, oh, great, let's go, And then shortly after that was, podcast. I'm like, wow, I can start a podcast. So basically, they kind of came back to back. The book first, podcast second. But at the time, I just took my story, man, of it's actually, there you go.
It's right there. Okay, wonderful.
Oh, yeah. So
Las Vegas.
So it's 4-part, right? And so it's if you can see there, right? And I'll read it out loud. So if you're listening, you can hear it. But part 1 was the struggle. And then part 2 was the discovery of, fuck, my life's a mess. Part 3 was the reflection, going back in time to look at all the things that I had to think through, work on, understand. And then part 4 brought us back to the moment of the present, right? And so in that, I basically just documented all the crazy stories, told people what the journey was like, and then shared with them what it was like for me to come out of that, and then what I started working on and the new perspective that I had. And yeah, man, it was a great experience. I was very proud to write the book. Obviously, that was the first book, and so a lot has changed since then. There's still a lot that we want to accomplish. Obviously, a book is a book. Again, now in the world of sales, nothing gets to its potential without a sale. So, obviously you want to sell a lot of books. The book writing world is great, but the book selling world is even better, because if you can sell a great book many, many times over, well, then that's a whole different ball game.
And we all know there's millions of books out there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Only a few have been sold, right? And so the next one is revolving around creative sales and communication, to really think about the process differently. And man, I'm fired up about this book. This book is going to be like anything, or should I say, unlike anything anybody's ever seen.
Now, I personally have been through your sales appeal program or course. The book, will it tie into the sales appeal, or is it something totally different?
Yep. So for clarity, we have a training program, a course that is a parlay of skill sets and experience that one of my mentors, has taught me, has lived, has made his fortune off of. And we took that course, and I recorded it from the angle of it being ours at the time, because he's like, go for it, because we basically have this opportunity. So let's do something great with it, because it's great material. Obviously, that.
Yes.
So that's a partnership. That's a separate product.
Okay.
And then I have my own, what is now evolving method that I've created based on a lot of other things that I've experienced and what I find to be my sweet spot, my wheelhouse for how I sell and how I get out into the marketplace. So they're independent, but I'm very much a user of both methodologies, because both methodologies have been a part of everything that I've done.
So you think they would complement each other then, as far
Totally.
as once it's, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, I'm Marc Thomas, founder and CEO of Current Tech Solutions and Cyber Guardians. We know business owners like you want to focus on growing your company, not worrying about IT problems or security threats. That's where we come in. Our team uses AI to protect your business from cyber risks and keep everything running smoothly. If you're ready for peace of mind and a stronger future, reach out to us today. Let's secure and elevate your business together.